Hello, Internets. It's Paul. It's Matt, the Dork Lords. We are here talking about Castle Rock.
Yes.
Now, season just finished.
It did just finish.
We, in order to be complete, are going to talk about the ending eventually. But in this episode, we're finishing episodes 7 and 8.
Yes.
We will then talk about 9 and 10
Yes.
the next few
Yeah,
days.
10. That's the final episode.
10 will be the final episode.
We'd
We'd probably talk about the season as a whole at that point as well. But for completeness, so that years from now, when millions of people have been coming to this site,
Not now.
they're like, why did you guys skip 7 and 8? Oh, you didn't.
No, we didn't.
You didn't. There it is. Thank goodness. Otherwise, my life would be incomplete.
Stuck in a schism.
Yeah, stuck in the schisma. So, yes, when you're putting down the chess pieces to mark where you are, this is 7 and 8. So, yes, episode 7, The Queen. Episode 8,
The King.
Past Perfect.
Oh, no.
That would be kind of cool, actually.
The Bishop.
But the Bishop. One of my favorite Monty Python sketches. It's the Bishop. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look it up. It's hilarious.
That's right. Yes.
All right. So, this not hilarious.
No.
Actually, episode 7, The Queen. It's a Sissy Spacek episode.
Yes.
I would say, and it is really good.
Yes.
Like, I feel like the camera work, the storyline, the acting is really, really strong in this. Maybe the strongest episode of the season. I don't know. I mean, it definitely it's got to rank top 2, I would think.
Sure.
Yeah. So the basic structure of it is unstructured, but we see Sissy Spacek's character Ruth, and she's got dementia. She's got these chess pieces that she uses to figure out where she is in time.
Yeah.
And so I think the episode opens actually in the present, where she's hiding in the shed with the gun, the loaded gun.
Yes.
And bang, bang, bang. We know before we see it, but by the end of the episode, we know that she shot and killed Alan Pangborn.
Yes.
Who is also the guy. The next thing we see is that it's Alan giving her the chess set in the past.
Yes.
And the chess set obviously is important for her. And
good luck walking through this one.
Yeah, I know. We're going to take it every beat. No.
And now back. And now forward. And now back.
And sideways. And a dream version of the back, but not quite the back. One of the interesting things that is, it's deliberately a little disorienting, but in a good way. I wouldn't even say half. Probably like a quarter of the times when we see a flashback, we see a young version of Ruth. Mm. But most of the time when we see a flashback, it's Sissy Spacek as Ruth.
Now, you know
with
that
a bunch of younger people.
Is her daughter, right?
Oh, okay. I didn't know that, so that's cool. But so, in other words, it's placing older Ruth in the memory of that time.
Yes.
But acting it as though she's in the moment. I thought that was really interesting. It's just another version of like what's real, what's not. Also, the end of episode 7. Whew, that is a poignant.
It is.
Maybe one of the most poignant moments in TV that I've seen in a while. Wow. I mean, it was. So, she's just killed the love of her life.
Yes.
We see her washing up. She had her head on dead Alan's chest.
Yes.
She washes up. It's obvious. Well, I don't know. It's obvious. What's obvious in this episode? But it seems obvious that it is still in the present moment. That she's just killed Alan. She washes up. She dresses up nice, as though she's expecting someone to come to the door. Sure enough, there's a knock on the door. She goes. It's Alan.
Yes.
He says he's just come back in town. And he heard gunshots, and he was coming, to see what. And we know, because he's mentioned this earlier, this is how years ago someone had told him, because he used to be the sheriff, that there had been gunshots over at the place. So he goes, and she says, "Don't leave."
Yes.
And that was when he decided, great, awesome, she forgives me.
Yep.
More or less. And so that scene plays out.
Yes.
Except it can't be in the past, right? It's like she's in the present. She just killed him, and she's washing up from killing him. And yet, so I think it's in her mind that she's reliving that moment. No?
All right. So the question is whether or not she's been traveling back and forth, her consciousness back and forth, right?
That's one question, sure.
Yeah. Because it, or
she could just be remembering
she does
this.
make, go on to in further episodes to state perhaps that, and then she.
Well, they talk about her being a time traveler, or the Wendell says, "Oh,
right.
You're a time traveler."
Yes, right. But it's the episode you haven't seen. But
okay, anyway.
But it's a question of whether or not she's actually just experiencing it as, does a function of dementia makes her think that she's experiencing these episodes or not, or if she behaved in exactly the way that he said, because she had a memory of killing him in the future. I mean, they've been talking about it. Other people saying, I'm seeing episodes in the future. So It's possible that she did experience that.
I mean, you could also say that were the gunshots that somebody heard that got him there, were they these gunshots somehow?
They make a point throughout the episode of connecting a number of things that we'd seen already in the series with other events.
Yeah. In fact, that's one of the genius things about this episode is
really well done.
We see it's almost like a little catch you up on what's been happening in the first 6 episodes. But not only is it just that scene, it shows how she came into those scenes. So she's in another world basically, and then we can see how she might be distracted because she was just in the woods with her husband with a gun to his head. That's kind of like it was really, really well done.
Yeah.
But yeah, so that final moment is
heartbreaking.
Theoretically, I guess by Alan's admission, it's years ago when he came back and she said, "Don't leave."
Yes.
And they're holding each other, and we know that in the future, she's going to kill him.
Yeah.
And kind of unintentionally. Yeah. Just heartbreaking scene, but great television.
Yes.
So things we see from the flashbacks are just as I mentioned, we see that Pastor Deaver is kind of gone off the deep end.
Right. We also see Ruth telling Henry to lie to your father.
Little Henry.
About seeing, little Henry. Lie to your father about hearing that stuff.
Right, just make him happy, basically. Appease him, and then you won't have to keep going out in the woods.
Well.
I mean, that's in her mind.
Yeah,
just end this thing. So they get taken out to the woods, Ruth and little Henry, and Pastor Deaver's like, hey, I tried to commit suicide, but when I did this with this gun, I heard the voice of God, and that's how you hear it. So when you try to commit suicide, I'm like, oh, God. And you can see they're just trying to appease him so they don't all die.
Yeah.
Alan is encouraging her to leave. She's like, pack your bags. She keeps packing her bags. She doesn't leave.
Right.
Pack your bags. And we know that the pastor Deaver is aware of the affair. There's a moment where he's doing his sermon, and he sees Alan kind of making eyes at Ruth in the church, and he kind of, you could see it. It affects him to the point that he loses his place, and and so he's obviously that's part of his obsession is with this affair that's happening, which is what plays into episode 8.
Yes.
We see a little microcosm of that played out.
Yes.
We might as well jump to that real fast. So episode 8 is not completely, but a large portion of episode 8 is this kind of mini story that reflects on the Deavers in a way, which is the couple that bought the B&B. We saw Molly trying to sell it to him, and she was trying to hide the ashes in the fridge or whatever. They bought the place, and they're going to try to set it up as a true crime museum hey, look at all those horrible things that happen here.
Slash bed and breakfast.
Da-da-da, come and stay.
Murder pancakes?
Where it crosses over with the Deavers is that there's an affair that's happened in this situation as well, and so the husband is aware that the wife had an affair. They're trying to get over it.
Yes.
They're trying to get past it.
Yes.
He's not getting past it.
No, he is not.
And so the very first guests they get,
Yes.
it's the very first ones.
Who aren't at all really interested in their murder museum.
Right. There's two problems. One, they're not interested in the museum, which bothers this guy. You can see he's
Well,
like,
it's sort of like I moved all the way down here to create this museum and everything, and you're not even here for that.
So the main reason I believe that sets him off is that they're there to have an affair.
Yes.
So it's like, your place was just off the map. It's far enough out that we could meet in silence and not alert our significant others. So that bothers him. He hears them having sex. It triggers him, basically. I mean, that or the kid triggers him, but basically he goes insane.
Yes.
Kills them up. His wife
kills him up.
Kills them up.
Kills them real good.
His wife helps clean up, I should say. His wife doesn't do the killing, but helps to clean up.
Yes.
So she's now complicit in the
Although
thing.
she later tries to be the killer.
She tries. When Henry shows up, they think he's there to expose them for this murder they just did like a day earlier. So they freak out and try to kill him and fail.
That was before, Jack came.
Jackie Torrance.
Jackie Torrance came.
Yeah. So I get we'll stay on the mini story for a second. All right. So they do this horrible murder. They're cleaning up. Jackie Torrance shows up.
Yeah.
She's like, "Hey, I drive a taxi in town. Why don't we do a little deal where I help you, you mention me as a taxi service. Mm-hmm. I mention your place." And she even mentions, "God, I had this idea. Yeah. You guys beat me to the punch."
Yeah. To the killer punch.
Yeah. Oh, and these axes you use aren't legit. That's not a fireman's axe. Because she knows about axes, because she's a Torrance.
That's right. Torrance is all about axes.
She later uses said axe, probably the same one from the mannequin, I would guess.
Of course.
She
why
went
not?
And took it and,
it's not good enough.
Kills the B&B owner, but not. Yes. Oh, the wife's already dead. That's right.
Yes, she saves Henry.
Right. So Jackie Torrance saves Henry from being murdered by the B&B owner. Yeah. After, in an inept attempt to kill Henry, they accidentally nicks. I forgot who nicks the artery, but basically the wife's artery gets nicked. She bleeds out. Yeah. So Jackie saves the day. Henry, the big reveal there. I mean, we already know that the kid is immortal, or at least hasn't aged in 27 years, but Henry didn't know that.
No, he didn't know that.
But now he knows it.
Now he knows it.
Because he sees all the artwork, the creepy...
Yep.
They took all the basement that was locked, was holding a bunch of Lacy's artwork. And most of that artwork, if not all of it, is various paintings of the kid.
Yes.
And so these true crime hotel people decide, these will be great artwork for our creepy hotel. Which is true, I suppose. Anyway, so they put that up. Henry sees it, starts taking the pictures out of the frames, sees the dates, starts realizing, wait, 97, 91. Yeah. Like this guy was always the same age through time. And there's a little seemingly misdirect, I guess, something that I don't think gets ever explained with this shirt. Am I wrong?
Oh, you are correct that you were wrong. No, you're not correct that you were wrong. Wait, what? No, it's not explained.
It's not explained. Got it.
It is not explained.
So I was thinking at the time when Henry sees this painting of the kid from 91, so it would be the same time, pretty much right when the kid got captured and was stuck in a trunk, more or less. And he's wearing this striped shirt. It's the only time we see him wearing this shirt. Well, it's the same shirt that's on the missing poster that young Henry Deaver was wearing. So I was thinking, well, maybe there's some kind of some little piece of information that why would the kid have the same shirt? Yeah. And we're not informed on that. Okay. All right. Your observation was maybe it was just Lacy basically putting those two together. perhaps.
Creating an image in the mind of Lacy to sort of like, because initially we know that he's like, oh, we must protect the world or whatever, but ultimately he, looks like, oh, yeah, he starts to change his feelings because, what's the point of keeping someone in prison when you're just going to kill yourself and not do anything about it? You should do some sort of Ralph, sheepdog and like coyote thing.
Right. You check
Ralph.
in.
Yep.
And then got to guard the sheep. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Great. I'm going to stop you. And then at the end of the day, you log back out.
Right.
All right. I get that. So Henry is saved a couple of times in that episode. He's saved by Jackie Torrance at the end. But first, he is saved by Molly.
Yes.
Who uses her psychic powers, figures out that he is trapped in a box in the woods in a camper, in the soundproof booth that's the filter. Okay. The only one of its kind.
That's right.
It's the only one.
They had a business they could have started.
Yeah, it's true.
Get to recording artists like, oh, this is the real.
You want to hear a clear sound?
Yeah, a clear sound. Well, you'll hear that special sound.
First, dip your instruments in liquid nitrogen, then play in the soundproof booth that only we can provide. Because pretty much Henry is more or less absent from episode 7.
Yes.
We see him as a kid there and so that, but he's in a box the whole time. Anyway, so episode 8. Molly finds him in the woods, lets him out. We see
him in flashback.
That's true. We do see him in flashback. Odin Branch, the guy who made himself deaf and trapped him in the camper, is dead with a screwdriver through the eye.
Dead.
We assume that was his apprentice. I think the apprentice's name was Willie, who was about to have his ears branding ironed out of him. So that's probably gave him impetus to kill Odin. So Henry escapes, goes back home.
Yes.
And obviously finds the
terrible act
that's happened. And there's a bit there where the cop starts recounting all the things that have happened. Actually, I think the cop says. Does the cop say it then, or does the cop say it after the B&B? I forgot which. But either one would be appropriate.
Yeah.
It's like everywhere you go, bodies pile up. He's at Shawshank Prison. Boom! Horrible thing happens. Next day, basically. Oh, look! Alan Pangborn shows up at your house, is murdered. Oh, next day. Oh, at the bed and breakfast. Oh, a couple tries to kill you, and they're both dead, and they killed another guy and chopped up his body, or 2 other people and chopped up their bodies. It's just a series of. Oh, and the Juniper Hill fire. So that's how the kid was free in the first place. Yeah. Was there's a huge fire at the sanitarium and killed like 14 people, and he's out. So there's kind of the putting it on Henry is like what? Now, coincidentally, it's also roughly around the same time, almost exactly around the same time that the kid got out of jail as well.
Oh yeah.
The only real horrible, deadly thing that happened was Lacy committing suicide.
Yes.
Which is also obviously connected to the kid. But as soon as the kid got out, then So one of the things I thought was interesting about episode 7 again, which I say again is a great episode. In the present, whenever we're back in the present, it's Sissy Spacek attempting. She realizes there's a threat by the kid.
Yes.
I think in my mind, she thinks, because he's also wearing Pastor Deaver's clothes.
Yeah. She thinks he's some sort of reincarnation or embodiment of her.
She said he's back.
Yes.
And so, I think she feels like Pastor Deaver has returned. Because he talked about immortality and a lot of those sermons he talked about. So she could imagine. I think she imagines him being resurrected.
I think he made references or statements that matched things that we have. That the husband said.
Yes, right. Plus, for instance, so one of the little MacGuffins of the present is that she's trying to find the bullets to the gun.
Yes.
So she can shoot the kid who she's talking to try to find the bullets. I need to find the bullets to kill you. So she knows that in the past, Pastor Deaver bought a gun, kind of against her wishes, and she's like, "This is dangerous." He's like, "Look, I put the bullets somewhere where you'll never find them." And so she's trying to figure out in her memory where. So at one point she thinks, "Oh, it's probably in this lockbox." And she feels fairly confident that's where they are, but she can't figure out the combination. So she asks the kid, who she thinks is perhaps the resurrected version, and sure enough, he's like, "It's your birthday." And so she does a little magic trick. She remembers in the past being taught magic by Alan Pangborn.
Oh yeah.
So that was a kind of a cool scene too. It was a fun scene. But so she palms the pill that he's trying to give her a sedative. We'll talk in a second about what the kid's motivation here is. But anyway, he's trying to give her a sedative and put her in a bath. She, "Hey, yeah, you're right. I'll go take a bath. I think that'd be a great idea." Goes off, opens the box, doesn't find the bullets. Finally remembers, "Oh, I put the bullets in the suitcase." I think it was the suitcase that she was packing
Yes.
to leave.
Yes.
And that suitcase is the one that they buried the dead dog in and put, Alan Pangborn. So she goes out, uncovers, which also relates back to an earlier episode, which I thought was kind of cool too. So she's got the dead dog and she's got the thing. And bullets.
Yep.
Loads the bullets.
Yep.
She also has a knife, though, and she actually does cut the kid.
Yes.
Which is interesting if this idea of the kid being immortal. He does take an injury, or at least he pretends to take it. He's bleeding pretty bad.
Well, maybe he can be wounded but not killed.
Okay.
Right.
You take him down to almost dead, but he's got...
boy, it's really going to take me a while.
He's on cheat mode.
To get back.
It's like, "Oh, no, I got an extra life. That's fine. Oh, I'm back.
Like, what was it? I think it was Interview with a Vampire.
Okay.
Where one of the guys, really, you thought he was dead, but no, he just was, so he had to slowly get back to the point where,
Oh, right.
getting blood and all that stuff. Just,
I'm back.
I'm now finally.
What is the kid's motivation? Does he just basically see that in the future she's going to shoot Alan Pangborn, and so he's...
In the future? Oh, yes.
During the time when he's in the house with her and he's trying to give her a sedative.
But it seemed like, I don't know, yeah.
It seems a little weird. I mean, what's his point?
Right.
Obviously, from his line, when Alan Pangborn shows up at the end of episode 6, he's basically, you can tell that he's remembering, "You left me in the trunk. Screw you."
Yes.
Basically. So there is a bit of that there's like a vengeance thing happening there. But did he coordinate all of these things based on Ruth's memories to have her end up with a gun loaded in the shed and have Alan Pangborn show up? Yeah. It seems a little over the top,
right.
But
no. I mean, within what we've seen, I feel as if it might be more likely he just has his effect on people.
Okay. Yeah.
So around her, he has an effect, and and so oh well, what can I say? That's what happens around me.
These violent delights have violent ends.
Yes.
I
wouldn't touch me. I wouldn't mess with me. I wouldn't.
Yeah, don't touch me.
You'll
get cancer.
Yes. Bad things will happen.
Okay. So Alan dies. As I say, the poignant ending. How does the episode 8 end? We do have Wendell, the son. Henry tries to send him away.
Yes, right.
Gets on a bus.
Right, gets on a bus, gets off the bus.
Gets off the bus at Jerusalem's Lot. That's another Easter egg. Which eventually became Salem's Lot in the movies, but was a short story about a cursed evil place from Stephen King. So he gets off at. Well, apparently, we know that Jerusalem's Lot is like 24 miles from Castle Rock now because there's a sign. And he starts, I guess, walking back, or he's going to hitchhike back. But Wendell also has the shining or whatever.
Yes.
He has the tinnitus.
Yes. Telling him to get off the boat, get off the bus.
And the bird hits the bus window.
Yeah, right.
So it kind of runs in the family, basically. Whatever's affecting Henry also is affecting his son.
Yes.
I know there's other stuff to talk about with this episode, but I can't think of something right off.
I can't think of anything.
Are we good?
Yes.
All right.
We are.
Very good. So that is 7 and 8.
Yes.
We will be bringing you 9 and 10, and then our thoughts on the season as a whole in the days to come.
Yes.
So thank you very much, everybody. Bye now.
Bye.